Hey friends, just some morning noodling there. I hope you are doing well. It is day 8 of the 30-day guitar challenge. Thanks so much for being with us. Friends, our email servers were really slow today, so if you can share this with a friend, I would very much appreciate that. Right next to the like button, which you probably hit already, then there's a share button as well, because I'm counting on you guys to get the word out today. If our email servers don't work, we can't let everybody know. Wow. Welcome. It is the 8th. It's the 8th day of the 30-day guitar challenge, so it's April the 8th, right? I'm going to be with you here live every day during the month of April, live for 2 hours from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 11 a.m. to 12 is going to be a beginner lesson. 12 to 1 is an intermediate to advanced lesson. I'm looking at my PDF right here, which you guys can download for free. It's the very first link below. And then, of course, getting inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, you can do that for free today. And that's what I'm doing right now, is we're going through each day in the Unstoppable Guitar System standard to build that solid foundation. And I'm excited about today because we're going to be talking about the physics of sound and diatonic harmony. We talked about that a little bit today. This is also another PDF that I want you guys to have, and this is inside the free course. This one sheet here alone, if the only thing you ever know about music is this one sheet right here, I'm a big fan of like things just on one sheet. So this is literally, if you know this, you'll probably know more than most musicians out there. If you were to take like all the musicians, obviously there's tons of musicians that know a lot more than this, but your average musician doesn't know this stuff. And it's this stuff that's holding them back. And it's probably this stuff that's holding you back. There's a reason why I made those lessons available to everybody and why they're the first 30 lessons. Is because without those, the rest of the stuff doesn't matter. If you don't have the bare essentials down, you're not going to get this other stuff, right? Just like in life, there's basic things that we need to be able to do. And if we can't do those basic things, it makes all the other stuff hard, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. All right, so welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are here, my dedicated bunch here. And then we're going to get to your questions right after the mini lesson here, which is the physics of sound. And then at the 1 hour mark, we're going to be talking about diatonic harmony, okay? Now, everything that we're talking about here as far as the physics of sound is going to have a lot to do with the diatonic part later on, okay? So we're going to get into it here in just one moment. Obviously, if you haven't already, like this and share it. And then we'll get to your questions in just a minute, okay? Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the basics of sound, the physics of sound. So we mentioned that yesterday that everything vibrates and at some frequency or another, and everything has a frequency. So for instance, And you might have noticed this before, like if you're in your guitar room or you're in a music room and you hit a chord, and then you notice that a certain picture on the wall vibrates, or a certain guitar on the wall vibrates, or a certain string on a certain guitar vibrates, and that sort of thing. That's called sympathetic vibration. To make this super easy, if there were an earthquake and the earth were shaking, right? Because, well, not the earth, but the area around the earth, right? The earth is shaking. If your house is on the earth, it's going to shake. If that house was a foot above the earth, then it wouldn't shake at all because it's not touching the earth, which is shaking. That's called sympathetic vibration. And essentially, the physics of sound are based upon that principle, okay? So you hear me do this. I pick a string. This string is vibrating, I think, at 110 cycles per second, because when we're tuning to 440, that's that note. And so that would be 220, and that should be 110, and then half of that would be 55. Hertz, that's cycles per second. Dr. Hertz came up with a methodology of measuring this, and a hertz is measured at a cycle per second, if you will. So something that's 60 cycles per second is going to be vibrating at 60 times per second. It's very simple, right? So this, which is vibrating at, say, 110 cycles per second, or 110 hertz, is vibrating, and then what it does is it sends a signal to my speaker, and then that is moving the air, which is then hitting the speaker of my iPhone here at 110 cycles per second. It's being turned into digital information. It's getting sent down the pipe, getting sent to you, and then when you hear me hit this, you're hearing the same A that I'm hearing here, because your speakers are vibrating at 110 cycles per second, at least, for that note that I'm hearing, that I'm playing there, okay? So, going along with this principle of frequencies and hertz and what have you, diatonic harmony, or at least the harmony that we're used to hearing since you were a child listening to classical music and rock and blues and jazz and country and et cetera, advertisements on TV and everything, it's based around a 12-tone spectrum, the chromatic scale, which is all of the notes that we recognize as being a note. Now that's what we recognize as being a note. If you go to India, or you go to some Aboriginal countries, Aboriginal societies and what have you, then they will play music and they'll go outside of what we're talking about here. But there's still some basis of the physics of sound that is associated with their music as well. So for instance, you can't escape the idea of octaves, okay? So an octave is when we, oct meaning 8, it's the 8th note of the scale. That's where we got this from. So we have the chromatic scale, which says it's every note. So A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, okay? Now, with that being said, there are some choice notes that we like to pull out of here so that we can create the major scale. We talked about this the other day, whole step, half, whole, half. You know this one, right? So, with that being said, the 8th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's why we call that the octave. Now, something very special is happening there. If this is 110 cycles per second, or 110 hertz, then the octave is double that. The octave up is double that. So this would be 220 hertz. Yeah, and then we go up an octave from that, we have 440 hertz. That's why when you look on your tuner, a lot of times it'll say A440. That's what we mean by 440. It's tuned to that many cycles per second. And then if we went up an octave from that, then that would be 880. And up from that would be 1720. And up from that would be 3440, etc. And you just keep doubling it each time. Well, why is that important? Well, it is important because it denotes that the spectrum, the musical spectrum, starts over again, if you will. At least the way that we identify it, it starts over again. So, You could do this going the other way too. So if this is 110, then if we were to play this fret on the low E string on a bass, or the only E string on a bass, if we hit that note, it would, since the strings are down an octave, then this would be 55 hertz, and then it would be 110, and then 220, and then we'd have to go. I don't even know if we could play that on the bass. I don't think so. So nonetheless, you get a basic idea there. Everything that is vibrating is making some sort of sound, whether you can hear it or not. It's a whole nother story. What else did I want to say about this? There's a couple other things I wanted to say about this. We have harmony, okay, which harmony is basically the way that we interpret it. Harmony is anything. This is harmony. Even though that doesn't sound very good, that is harmony. Because harmony essentially is when we have yet another note being played, yet at least one other note. We're talking about chords and arpeggios and stuff, we're talking 3 or more notes. But when we're referring to harmony, typically we mean something that's harmonious or something that's harmonic, that sounds nice, and that maybe has some sort of symmetry to it, even if it's just to our ears, if we don't understand it, right? We can stick our finger in a light socket and not understand how electricity works. We're still going to get shocked. We don't have to believe in gravity. If we step off a cliff, it's going to work. Okay, in the same way, our ears are hearing things, and this is where music theory comes in handy, is that they're really just labels that we can put on things that allow us to identify and move things around and be able to understand them better than if we didn't at all. You know, if I hit a chord like this, and you say, ooh, that's sad sounding, and you don't understand that that's a minor chord, then you may not be able to replicate that on the instrument. You're just like, you know, that sad chord, and it becomes this mysterious thing, as opposed to knowing the mechanics behind a minor chord, okay? Or if it were a major chord, and it sounds very happy, then if you said, well, that sounds like a happy chord, but you don't know the whys, well, then you're going to have a hard time duplicating that, right? This is why I only hear young musicians or young wannabe players being fearful of music theory. I've never met a schooled musician who's good at what they do be scared of music theory. So let that alone be a lesson to you. The only guys that are scared of theory, the only people that are scared of theory are people who don't know it yet and are new. I've never once, ever, in the history of ever, known a musician who was like, I don't need music theory, except for the ones that thought they didn't need music theory, but they were so in the dark about it that they were actually using music theory. And I actually have some musical heroes that believe this. I won't point them out right now because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. But bottom line, I have musical heroes that think that they don't know music theory when in fact they know music theory. They just don't know the labels to put on the music theory, but they know it inherently in some ways. And you'll hear all sorts of folklore about, well, Jimi Hendrix didn't know music theory, and this guy didn't know music theory, etc., etc. Just because someone says something doesn't mean that that is true, especially if they don't know what they're talking about, right? There's plenty of that going on right now. A lot of people having big, strong opinions about things, but they're not experts in their field, in that field. So why are they being so boisterous? And we could say this about music too, and unfortunately with musicians, a lot of times they will think, oh man, this is just, man, I just receive it from above, man, it's it. I just receive it from above. And that's cool if you want to look at it that way, but at the end of the day, they're learning, and they didn't receive those things from above before they practiced their instrument. So what does that mean? It means that they learned it in some way or another. So learning this stuff is very important. It's going to help you a ton, okay? We're going to delve into this more in detail in the second hour, which is going to be on diatonic harmony. We're going to cover some basics, and you know, this is the PDF that I mentioned for you. We're going to be working off of this today, except I'm going to go into it a little bit deeper than I did the other day, because I talked about the language of guitar, and I mentioned these bits here, okay, on a surface level. But for the intermediate advanced lesson today, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about harmony, and we're going to talk about scales and how scales work over chords, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of good stuff there for you guys, and I think that you will be mesmerized at how much it will help with your everything that you're doing in music. When you're deciphering music, you know, when you're transcribing music, when you're using your ear. I say that 80% of ear training has really to do with your knowledge of the instrument. Because, right, I'll say it again, a 3-day-old infant doesn't hear a chord any differently than a 97-year-old conductor, okay? A symphonic, an orchestra conductor, that is, okay? They're not hearing, that 3-year-old is still hearing the diminished chord. They just don't identify it as a diminished chord, right? If that doesn't make sense to you, if I'm a baby and I'm looking out the window and I see a BMW drive by, if I was a car connoisseur and I knew and I could identify the year and everything like that, it doesn't look any different to the baby. The baby can see it and drive by, but it doesn't mean anything to the baby because it's just a silver vehicle, a silver thing moving, okay? So once we start identifying, once we have labels to identify this stuff, it makes it a lot easier. Does that make sense? Okay, so just understand that bit there. Wow, Howard, coming in strong with a donation of $50. Al, thank you so much for your help, bro. Vets, thank you so much, Al. I love our vets. If you're a veteran and you want to be part of the Unstoppable Guitar System, we have and always will provide this for free for U.S. veterans, U.S. military. Go to YourGuitarSage.com/veterans. YourGuitarSage.com/veterans, and we will get you in the whole program for free. The one that people pay $400 all day long for, $400 for a lifetime membership, or they do a monthly membership or whatever, and we provide that free for veterans. So if you're a veteran, you want to be part of it, we will set you up, okay? Al, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me during these times, especially since we know the situation, right? All right, let's get into some questions. Any questions? Thank you, Jeff. Hair's looking okay, man. It was squirrely this morning. I can already feel it, and we're on day 8, bro. 22 days yet, and it's gonna start getting really squirrely. It's gonna be like a mohawk. I'm gonna have to do something with it. I'll get out the Flowbee. All right, let's get to those questions. Oh, let me do this. Let me put it on live chat, not top chat. I always forget to do that. Now we're cooking. What are the names that have wrenches next to them? Those are folks that are my admins. They're folks that are watching the chat. If anybody gets ugly, starts talking politically, anything that falls outside of our rules, which is basically be nice, don't be an a-hole, don't talk about politics. You know, just be cool. Just be nice. If you're nice, you can stay. If you're not nice, people get kicked out. All right, cool. Should I loosen the strings when storing my acoustic? That's a great question, Forensic Psyche. If you're going to store it for a long time, but if you're just storing it for, you know, a few weeks or even probably, you know, a couple months or something, it's fine. I don't really see there being a reason that you would need to do that anyhow. This guitar has been tuned up since 1965, and it's not going anywhere, okay? So I've heard of some people saying to do that. If it's a 12-string, yeah, I've heard you want to do that. With a 6-string, you could do it, but it's a real pain in the butt. Now you're constantly having to tune your guitar. So my answer is no, don't. I don't know why you would need to do that. It's not going to bend the neck any more than it would. I mean, there are pre-war acoustic guitars that have always had the strings on it and never tuned down. So you're fine there, okay? Trying to find the Diatonic PDF. William, it is in the free course, which is in the second link down. Hit the second link down. If you want to get into the paid course, there's versions of that. The free course, I think, is in the upper left-hand corner. And then once you're in there, then you'll get to Diatonic Harmony. You don't have to do this right now. And in fact, if you want, take a snapshot of the screen. That'll save you a minute. You should be in the program, though. I'm going to put this up here so you can take a screenshot of it. Okay? So be in the program if you haven't already, okay? But there you go. Take a snapshot of that. And then you have it. Johnny Nitro, thanks, man. I love that guitar. It's one of my favorites. How can I start arranging fingerstyle guitar? That's a great question. Let's look at one. So inside UGS, and then also I have a video on this on YouTube. So I teach the song Kids by MGMT in a series on UGS, and then I have a video for this as well, okay? Now the song goes like this. There's an E minor, and there's a C, and then there's this G, and a walk down. It goes like this. You've heard this song, right? It's a synthesizer song, pop song. So the chords. Now, first off, you've got to be able to pick out individual melodies and chords. And the way that you want to do that is start with the ear training exercises that I give you on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage ear. Inside UGS, I have a whole course on this. But essentially, starting off with one single note, and finding it, or and you hum and hunt. That's the game. And you find a single note. Once you can find a single note, you can find several notes. Once you find several notes, you just practice that. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, and then you can do chords and that sort of thing. So for me, what I did is I listened to this song. Originally, I think it was actually in the key of F sharp minor, so I could hear the chords. And then what I did is I said, okay, well that's an E minor chord or an F sharp minor chord, a D chord, and then so I kind of analyzed that, and then I started with the bass line. And then I took the melody line. And then I started adding them together nice and slowly. Now, when some people say, how can I start arranging fingerstyle songs? That's how to do it, right there. That's exactly how to do it. But it won't happen very quickly. It takes time. Anybody that I've talked to about this, like the Joe Robinsons and the real high-end finger pickers that are doing these arranging parts, they all do it the same way. It's one note at a time, one chord at a time, one measure at a time. It's tedious. There is no fast way to do this. It's just like painting the Mona Lisa or painting a beautiful picture, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Steven likes that song, right? Okay, good. Which is the best beginner amplifier? There's no best beginner amplifier. It really depends on what it is that you want to do. If you're playing with a band, you should probably have a louder amplifier, something with tubes in it that's going to carry the sound. If you're playing by yourself, a simple at-home practice amp will work. Jason, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. Super kind. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, bud. Thank you. So you need to know what it is that you're playing. If you're playing acoustic guitar and you're busking, on the street where you're playing music for folks, you may need to have that. If you don't have a need for an amp, then don't get one. For electric guitar, obviously, you want to manipulate your sound and stuff like that. So you would have to get an amplifier to do that. But some of my amp choices are in the gear link below that you'll see. It's close near the bottom. I think it says like gear and reviews. Click on that, and that will take you actually to my store. where and it's not my store. You can go to Amazon or Sweetwater or whatever, but it'll give you direction where you can just click on a link and then you can go see what it is I'm talking about. I've also reviewed those things. So there's many different great amps that you can have. One of my favorite is the Fender Blues Junior. It's because it's affordable. It's a tube amp. It's loud enough to play with a band. You can make it clean, so you can run your pedals through it. You can also dirty it up. It has a pre and a post. It has built-in reverb. So it has everything that you need and not a lot of stuff that you don't need. It's loud. It's easy to carry. It's light. It's low priced. You can get them for like $400 or $500 compared to some other stuff that's much more than that. Obviously, you can go out and get a Boss Katana, which is like a $200 amp, up to $400. And when you start getting to that level, I'm saying, why would you even buy a solid state amp? Just go get a tube amp. Get a Blues Junior that's used. You know, that's my opinion. But I have a link for that below. You can check all those out. Okay, Lee, thanks so much for the kind donation, friend. Keep it up. I'm gonna. We're on day 8. $5.99 at Sweetwater. Is $5.99 for the Blues Junior? Carl, let me know. That would be great. After the 300th day, where should I start 365 or Unstoppable Guitar? You mean after the 30th day? So here's the deal. D-Buster 44, you should be in the Unstoppable Guitar System standard at least right now. That's the first 30-ish lessons that you're going to get, 36, 33, something like that. So just go there. When you're done with that, it's up to you. I've got many videos on YouTube for you for free. If you want to get into the Unstoppable Guitar System, that's going to automatically give you access to 365. So if you're in Unstoppable, if you're in UGS, then you're going to have access, at least the paid version of it, then you're going to have access to 365 as well. I would not suggest just being in 365. That's more of a workout program. And every now and then I get somebody in there who doesn't know about guitar, and they're trying to work out their fingers and what have you, and they don't know the basics about guitar, and then I send them a link to 365 or to UGS standard because it's going to get their foundation strong, okay? So you definitely want to do that before you get into 365. At least go through the first 30-something lessons, and then you can get into 365. But UGS is like meeting with me. It's like, you know, you have questions about Travis picking, I walk you through it. You have questions about music theory, I walk you through it. Scales, harmonization, blues, swing, jam tracks, the whole 9 yards. That's what UGS is all about, okay? Did I know John Prine? I didn't. He's obviously a Nashville staple, but I did not know him. Condolences, yeah, to the family, to his family. Okay, Blues Junior 4 runs about $600 now. Okay. Is the Blues Junior too loud for apartments? It's got a master volume, or it has a pre and a post. The post you can think of as the master volume. So you could turn it down super low. So it's not going to be too loud. No. Most every amp, I've never owned an amp that didn't, I mean, I've had some of the most powerful tube amps there are. And all of them you could turn down to just a whisper. So it's not like they're so loud that you can't play them, even the biggest ones, okay? What's the best guitar exercise or note frequency I should play for getting a sick beard like yours? Wesley, thank you. The best exercise is, I would say, dexterity exercise number 1, you know? Play that for a month straight, and then this will happen. Thanks, friend. Yeah, you can get a used Blues Junior for $300, $350. I've seen them before. I've bought them before on Craigslist, and then send it to my buddy Greg Ellis, and he'll do all the tweaks and all the mods to it to make it even sound juicier than they do. But right out of the box, they're a great amp. I love them. I've pulled them straight out of a box, played them, and they sound great. How do you tighten your guitar strings? Right here. You tighten them right here, but you need to know how to tune the guitar. On YouTube, search YourGuitarSage tuning. Otherwise, you should be in UGS standard, and I'll walk you through that and a lot more other stuff, okay? Hi, what is the best online guitar degree program? Anish, Duda, Roy, Did you just ask that question? The Unstoppable Guitar System. And I'm not biased at all. Of course it's the Unstoppable Guitar System. That's why I spent my whole life building this thing. I didn't spend my whole life building this thing because it's crap. It's because it's my life's passion. You know, and I'm giving that to you for free today. It's the second link below, Anish. That's where you should be. Start there. If you don't agree, you don't have to continue. But I promise you, you'll agree, okay? Okay. Is the Blues Junior amp only 15 watts? Is that enough for small crowds? I believe it's 18 watts, but even if it is 15 watts, what a lot of people don't understand is that 15 watts of tube power are so much louder than 15 watts of solid state power. So you could buy a 100 watt solid state amp and buy a 1 watt tube amp, and that 1 watt tube amp is probably going to be louder than your 100 watt solid state amp, or close. If it's like a 5 watt tube amp, it's going to be louder than 100 watt solid amp. That's how it works. Tubes are just way louder. They're way more dynamic. In fact, I had a 5 watt Epiphone tube amp, and I was pitting it against a 200 watt stereo amp that I had that was solid state. And the Epiphone, the 5 watt, was just this much quieter than the 100 watt solid state amp. So I should say that 5 watt was just slightly quieter than the 100 watt solid state amp. So yeah, 15 watts is plenty loud, okay? You will frighten people. Don says it's as loud as you want. Yeah, it's so loud that when you turn it up, you'll want to gingerly turn your head away and turn it down. It's so loud. It's plenty loud, okay? How should I learn music theory along with guitar? Dexter's asking. Dexter, that's exactly how I teach you inside the free program. The second link below, it's for free. I walk you through understanding music theory as it applies to the guitar each and every step along the way. There's no need for me to learn a foreign language if I'm not going to speak that foreign language. I'm going to forget it. There's no need in you learning music theory if you can't apply it right away and are going to apply it every day after that. And that's exactly how I teach. I don't introduce you to music theory because I know that music theory, or I don't introduce you to a piece of music theory unless you're ready for it, unless you're ready to absorb it, and you're going to use it from then on out. Because I know that people have a reluctancy to learn music theory. It's a naughty word. They don't like it. So I have to trick them into learning it. But once I do, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, music theory is fun. This is great, being knowledgeable about this stuff. So that's the way you want to do it. Follow UGS standard step by step. I'm going to teach you how to do this, okay? Okay. Someone's Katana 50 or 100 are inexpensive and really good. Built-in effects, modifiable on your computer. Yes, and for most people that's going to be fine. If you're playing with a band or something, then that won't be fine, but yes, indeed. Thanks so much for the 200 likes. Beautiful. You guys are bringing it today. Thank you. Greetings from Portugal. I have a question. In Sweet Child of Mine intro, is it a coincidence that Slash is playing a pentatonic scale? Apologize if I made any mistake writing this. It's absolutely not a coincidence that he's playing the pentatonic scale. It's because this is the cornerstone of all guitar players and most musicians. The pentatonic scale is the king. It's super easy to use. It's very symmetrical on the guitar, and yes, 100%. It's not a mystery. Dominic, as always, thank you, Dominic. You've always, thank you so much. So kind. Thank you and Eric to the team. Eric and team. Thank you, buddy. I love music theory, but I treat it like a separate hobby from guitar. And it can be learned that way, Rich. You know, you can learn music theory just on paper and that sort of thing. But when you see it happen on the guitar, now you can apply it right away. It's so much more powerful, in my opinion. Pat Kennedy saying 100. What does that mean, Pat? What does 100 mean? Let me know what you mean by that. But thank you so much for the donation, Pat. Super kind. the standard 365 plan is a great place to start or refresh if you have not played in a while. Indeed, yeah. Eric, can you plug a headset into your electric guitar or acoustic guitar with a pickup? William, no, because no, that's not how it works. I understand we would want to do that, but no. What it does is it produces a small amount of voltage, so small that your headphones won't amplify the speakers within the headphones. We're talking physics of sound again here. So what we need is that sound to travel through a wire into a preamp or an amplifier that will power the speakers, whether that's in your cans, in your headphones or in your speaker. It needs to have the power to physically move a cone back and forth to move that air so that air hits your ear and is powerful enough to move your eardrum. That's what we're talking about right now too with tube amps, right? One that's not loud enough, doesn't have enough sound pressure. So even though it can hit all the pitches and stuff, right? It can't do it at a volume. So it's moving the speaker, but it's moving it real small. A tube amp's gonna really be moving those speakers in a big way, which is gonna move a lot more air, which is gonna create more volume, okay? Back to the physics of sound there, okay? Oh, look what Kelly said. Here you go. For those of you that are discouraged about soloing, oh my God, I soloed last night after your lesson. I get it! Exclamation point. Sunglasses, smiley face. Good, Kelly. You should let everybody know what light turned on for you, because maybe that will help somebody else if you can let them know, Kelly, what turned on for you about what it is that we talked about. What made you get it? Because it's different for everybody. It's usually a handful of things, but what specific thing did it do? Okay? If we've got the pentatonic scale boxes and blues scale boxes down, should we work next on connecting them or moving to phrasing? Authentically MG, always phrasing, because connecting them doesn't really mean anything. It's great for practice, get your fingers going. It's a good little habit, like working a Rubik's Cube or something like that, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna go see a guy work a Rubik's Cube on stage, right? They wanna hear that person play guitar like Stevie Ray Vaughan or create a symphony or something like that. So phrasing is what it's all about. That's how you create songs, is by phrasing. And so the next place to go, Authentically MG, is to go to check out the video Minimalistic Blues. YourGuitarSage Minimalistic Blues. Search that on YouTube. You'll know what I'm talking about here. Maybe that's what Kelly did to understand it. Hopefully she'll let us know. Expert Bindi just joined UGS course. Yes, so glad you're in there, my friend. Hit me up. Oh, and same thing with Goddess Oceana. I just registered for the free live lessons. Thank you. It's been 30 years since I studied music theory, and I'm looking forward to a strong review. Beautiful, Goddess. I'm here for you. Let me know how I can help. Beautiful. Tell us, Kelly. Somebody's asking. Oh, thank you, Goddess Oceana. Oceana. Yeah, Goddess Oceana. Okay, cool. Can you show us the BB box? Yeah, let's talk about it. So first I'll put a little chord progression here, right? That might suit us well. Hold on, I gotta change this tone here. I'm not loving this tone. So the BB box is an area of the neck that B.B. King used for much of his soloing, okay? Let's do this here, okay? Hold on here. There we go, hold on. Okay, so first off, that's in the key of A. Okay, when you're using A, pentatonic or A blues, so they're only one note difference, right? This form, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. If we want to throw the blue note in there, it's 5, 8, 5, 6, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 8, 5, 8, 5, 8. Okay? Did Kelly tell us what she did? Did Kelly tell us? Just follow the box shape, play any note, any finger, blues track in background, rip any note, throw in some bends for extra coolness. Good, beautiful, Kelly. And see what Kelly did there, and I'm going to continue on with this. What Kelly did there is she went into it with faith that even though she didn't know how to do it, she would end up knowing how to do it. And there is nothing in the world that we haven't done with this, from walking to talking to anything. We didn't know how to do any of it, but we saw other people doing it, and that encouraged us, and we somehow believed in it, thank goodness, and then we started doing it. So this is no different. And anything you want to do is possible, but you have to go into it not knowing anything and expecting that you will learn something. It's common sense, but some people, they get so downtrodden and lose faith in themselves and what have you that they forget about that this is true, right? So Kelly understands what we're talking about here. So here we go. There's the blues scale, right? And so we could play this in a minor blues sound, which sounds like this, which we're literally using a minor pentatonic scale over a major chord progression. It's rare that works, but in blues it works. So listen to this minor sound. It sounds very bluesy, very sad, right? Like this. Whoops. Sound so sad. If we were slower, it might sound, we could make it sound more sad and really, whine those notes out. But what B.B. King did is he would play bits of the minor scale. So if we took this, take these different forms here. For some of you, you're going to know this. That's all minor pentatonic. But what B.B. did is he threw in, let's see here, he threw in, I think it is the, he threw in the major 2, and the major 6. Major 2 and the major 6. So he's still using the minor pentatonic scale. But he's also throwing in this note, which is the major 6, and this note, which is the major 2. And he also threw in the major 3 sometimes. And when he did that, and I have a whole video on this, so you don't have to know all this stuff right now. Just search YourGuitarSage BB box after the program, and this will make sense to you. But essentially, it's throwing in that major 6 and that major 2 lifts it up and makes it sound a little bit more major, a little bit more fun. So like. Right there, we got that major chord, and so that note definitely should work there. Now over the 4 chord, you could use the minor 3 or the major 3, but basically and you can throw that note in there, that note in there, and that's the BB box. it's just this area. It's basically like if you were to think about area 3 or form 3 of the blues scale, but throw in the major 2, throw in the major 3. That's how BB got that sound that we know as the BB box. A lot of misinformation about that on the internet. I did quite a bit of studying about that before I did it, and so hopefully I got it right. But I'm telling you that there's a lot of people that videos that I came across where I was like, that's kind of it, that's part of it, because, and the reason I said that is because not because I knew, but I watched enough videos, and the people that I knew had studied this stuff and really knew it really well, that there was some consistencies that came up. By the way, this is how you find good information, right? You follow lots of people and you find out the people that are saying the same thing, that have not only the credentials, but they've got the fruit to show for it, right? And in this case, that's what I did with this. So hopefully I got it as right as possible. You gave me courage to post my first guitar song cover on YouTube using your online lessons and your positive attitude. Thank you. Adrian, thank you so much. Appreciate that so much. Thank you for the kind donation, friend. Okay. Oh, Susan, so triggered. I'm sick of hearing about amps, wasting my time. Well, Susan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're triggered about the amps, dear Lord. Jesus, really? There's a pandemic going on. Don't tell Susan. If she's triggered about amps, she's really going to be triggered about this pandemic. Okay, what device are you? I'm teasing you, Susan. You know I love you. What devices are you using for changing the tone of the guitar? So I've got a Kemper amp, which is, oh, sorry, Susan. I have a Kemper effects processing unit, which processes my sound, and I can do different things with it, create driving tones and, you know, clean tones and delays and reverbs and all that stuff, okay? Okay. Yes. Okay. When you're moving up and down the neck, is that just changing the pentatonic scale position or changing the root pentatonic scale? So what I was doing there, Jeff, just now is I was just changing the different positions, okay? So what I mean by that is it's the same 4 notes. If I played form 2, I would go. If I played form 3, I could go. See, it's the same notes. Does that make sense? It's the same notes, but in different places all over the neck, okay? Wow, 517 folks watching. Yes, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and share with a friend. Newbie here, do you feel a metronome is necessary or is a phone app sufficient? A phone app with a metronome is completely sufficient, but Michelle, what I always say is this, don't use the metronome until you get the basics down first, because, and it really depends. That's not in a vacuum. That's not an answer for everybody. I would have to be working with you one-on-one for me to be able to answer that accurately. But, you know, you got to think, if a child is sitting there learning and then you're sitting over there with them with a ruler saying, come on, nope, not right, faster, faster, right in the beginning, that's going to be really discouraging. Now later on, once they have a pace and they've got all the things down, and now they're just trying to increase their speed, then a metronome would be great. But in the same way, you don't want to pressure someone when they're in their early stages learning something. You need to give them that space to be creative and let their minds wrap around a subject. And if you're trying to get your strumming down, you don't have the basic bits down here, right? The basic strumming bits, then adding a metronome is just going to make it more difficult. So be kind to yourself. The metronome is great for getting your timing down, but in the beginning, I don't suggest it. I suggest you hold off on it. There's other things to do before you do that. But the metronome is awesome for learning how to do that, yes. For playing in time, 100%. Where do I go next to learn beyond Form 1 of the pentatonic blues scale? Doug, I've got videos for this. Search Your Guitar Sage Blues, but inside the Unstoppable Guitar System, I have entire courses on the pentatonic scale, entire courses on blues, entire courses on dissecting solos and playing solos, putting solos together, improvisation, minimalistic blues, call and response, hundreds of jam tracks for you, blues jam tracks. That's all inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. That's the second link below. You can get in the free version or you can get in the paid version. The paid version has all the jam tracks and all that stuff in it. The other version has like the top 30 lessons I teach all my students. That's very helpful too, but it's not going to have what you're looking for specifically, Doug. So if you want free, obviously you get what you pay for. Free, I've got lots of lessons for you for free on YouTube. Search Your Guitar Sage Blues. Could you explain the practical applications and uses of the major scale and the pentatonic scale and the relation, if any, to a key in which a song is played? We'll catch a replay if already done. James. Okay, yeah, so when we're talking about the pentatonic scale, we're talking about the major scale, except it's leaving out the 4 and the 7. So here is A major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The pentatonic scale is only 5 notes. Okay? This only has 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then that's not 8, that's 1 again. If that doesn't make sense to you, you need to be in the Unstoppable Standard. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're back to 1 again. The pentatonic scale is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. So we're basically skipping the 4 and the 7. That's their association there, okay? And the pentatonic scale is a great scale that I say just use it for learning how to improvise. Follow minimalistic blues in the courses or online. Search Your Guitar Sage Minimalistic Blues, okay? That will help you to understand. Use that as your tool for getting handy and learning how to improvise, like Kelly, okay? And use the major scale. You can use it for improvisation as well, but I like to use it oftentimes as a benchmark or something to describe music. We're using it for embellishing chords, for talking about chord progressions, everything else, okay? That's a real broad stroke. You got to delve into this stuff, and the best way to do it is step by step. That's why I provide that course for you, okay? So me answering these questions, I feel a bit guilty sometimes just answering them, because even though I'm giving a 100% accurate answer, it's still probably not going to get you to the area that you need to get to. Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this is you, James, but unfortunately, people want me to answer a question and think that just that little answer is going to get them there, and rarely is it going to do that. Sometimes you're going to have an aha moment. That's when people have those aha moments. It's like a smattering of information that just, oh my God, now everything's coming together. But most of the time, it requires learning lots of aha moments step by step, which is why I give you the course, okay? I guess this is too deep, but do you leave out those 2 notes? It's not too deep, Gary. Yeah, you leave out those 2 notes. That's what makes it the pentatonic scale. It's the 5-note scale, okay? All right. Someone's saying, what's an easy way to play the C chord? What's an easy way to play the C chord? An easy way to play the C chord is just put your first finger on the first fret of the 2nd string and then just play the bottom 3 strings. That's a C chord. If you want the next easy one, you're going to take your 2nd finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then try to pick those bottom 4 notes. That's a C chord as well. And then if you want, you can add your 3rd finger. But here's the deal. The reason that into, the reason that you're having issues with playing the C chord is because you, number one, you haven't practiced enough yet and you don't know the right stuff to practice. I implore you to get inside UGS Standard. I'm giving it to you for free. It's the second link below, because you're going to understand. And anybody else who's had an issue with the C chord before and after go through in that first 30, would you please tag into to let them know so that they know exactly what I'm talking about here, because it really is just a matter of learning the technique. That's all it is. That's all anything on guitar is. There's nothing that's separating you from the best guitar player in the world other than practice and then the know-how. And the know-how is out there. There's more knowledge out there about guitar for free now than there was that you could pay for back in Hendrix's day. Okay, so obviously there was nothing online. So, but there's way more today for free than there was a year ago paid. Now you got to do a lot of searching, and this is why YouTube can be a minefield, because you land on one guy who knows what they're talking about, another guy who doesn't, or another guy who's long-winded, and another guy who didn't show you enough. So that's the problem. When you find a teacher, whether it's me or it's somebody else, see if they have a path for you, because you're going to resonate with one teacher, and whoever that teacher is, hold on to them, see if they have a methodology, and then follow that in a step-by-step format, because if you don't, it makes things really, really difficult. Okay, great questions. BL Bowen, thank you for all caps and the question mark. That helps me see things a lot quicker. So friends, if you would, there goes a thumbs down. Susan, probably. Susan, come on back and give us a thumbs up. Come on, Susan. You know I love you. If you would, when you're leaving a question, please, all caps and a question mark, okay? So I have the the NSS system chord chart shows minor degrees, the NSS. I think you mean the NNS, right? The National Number System chord chart shows minor degree chords, 2, 3, and 6. Your BB box example had the blues man play major notes there. Should my rhythm strum be major or minor when jamming with the king? BL Bowen. Okay. So when we're talking about the 2, 3, and 6, when you're talking about chords and you're talking about notes, they're different, okay? So for the National Number System shows the chords, and you're saying with the minor degrees in chords 2, 3, and 6. That's just the chords, so don't worry about that. The only thing I'm saying is take a standard 12-bar blues chord progression, right? Major 1, a major 4, major 5. If you want to make them 7th chords, great. Standard blues chord progression, and then instead of just using the minor blues or just using the major blues, the BB box specifically is this place up here where I showed you. Watch my whole video for that on YouTube if you need help with that. YourGuitarSage BB box. And what he did is he mixed some minor and some major blues in there, okay? And that's what makes it the BB box, also where it's at, you know? When learning strumming patterns, is it a good idea to say them in your head as you're striking? Authentically, MG. Yes, you mean like 1, 2, 1, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 4, and etc. Does that make sense? Okay. Joseph saying talk about long-winded. Well, yeah, Joseph, this is a lesson, and so we're here for 2 hours. So either I can sit here looking at you, Joseph, doing that, or I could answer questions. What are you doing for the world, Joseph? Come on. Don't be a downer, man. Be cool. And bring something to the world. It's easy to bitch. It's a whole nother thing to do something for the world. Where do I find the blues box diagrams in your course? Gary, search YourGuitarSage Blues, or you're in the course already. Just search blues, search pentatonic. You're gonna find all of those diagrams. I have them for you. Joseph, I'm calling you up, bro. I'm not putting you down. I'm calling you up. All right. We all get moments of losing ourselves for a minute. And yes, I've been said that I'm long-winded, but I've also had people say, Eric, you explain this better than anybody else. So when you're on the internet and it's not this thing where you're talking with somebody where you can know that they're getting it, you have to explain it fully. Like I have to explain this fully to you, because you don't get that when you're teaching many, many people, you have to explain things fully. You have fast forward and rewind and speeding up the videos, you know, but Lest you forget, we're not having a real dialogue here. It's me on a camera and I can't hear you. Some people forget this, okay? Yes, change the channel. If you don't like it, change the channel. We're here to learn, man. Pat, the donation thing is in the bottom left if you want to do that. It's a smiley face with a dollar symbol there. Eric, how do you know if your guitar strings are too old and are ready for a change? Thank you for your help, Andreas. Andreas, if they don't look shiny anymore, you might want to change them. But really, if the sound is bad, that's what you're going for. If the sound is fine and they're staying in tune and stuff, don't worry about it. You got plenty of other things to do, like learn. So I try to change my strings as least as possible because number one, I don't like changing them, and number two, I just want to play. So I don't want to bother with them. Does that make sense? Mike V's, for the record, I appreciate the details in your explanation. Thank you, Mike V. He knows where the speed up. He knows where fast forward is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is whole, half mean? Confused. David, this is what it means. So, oh, and by the way, we're just getting ready to get into this. So, I'll tell you what, Michael, David asked this. Let's get into that here in just a minute. Let's talk about diatonic harmony, but we're at the 12 o'clock mark. So I was going to talk about this anyhow. So let me kick off the advanced section here, and then we're going to talk about this, okay? So friends, welcome. If you are an intermediate or advanced player, this is the intermediate and advanced section of the program, okay? So if you're following along with the PDF that you can download right now, the first link below this video, you should have downloaded this already. If not, do it now. It's maybe like 4 or 5 pages. It's not just this. There's other stuff in there that you're going to want, okay? So do that. And we're on day 8, and we talked about the physics of sound, and now for the advanced section, we're talking about diatonic harmony, okay? And for those of you that are new to these, I'm going live with you every single day in April from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. 11 to 12 is a beginner lesson. 12 to 1 is an advanced lesson. The beginner part of the section, the beginner lessons, I'm walking you through, hand walking you through the Unstoppable Guitar System Standard, which you're getting for free today. It's the second link below, okay? If you want to be part of this and really do the 30-day challenge, that's what to do, okay? If you haven't already, like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you have already, don't do it, because you'll negate your first thumb up, okay? And also hit the share button if you would, and share this with folks. Yes, embrace the suck, is what the military says. We had 30 days that were, you know, social distancing or whatever word you want to stick in there, quarantining or lockdown or whatever. We're doing this for April, so let's just embrace the suck and let's learn the guitar, okay? That's what we're doing here. Okay, let's talk about diatonic harmony. So this fun little page here is literally, I've said this before, if you know this one page here, you're going to know more than most people, and this is the very cornerstone of all music. Classical, rock, blues, jazz, country, it doesn't matter. This is the cornerstone, okay? Writing songs, writing chord progressions, melodies, and everything else. This stuff is going to help you understand stuff significantly. My gift on Susan's behalf. Love you, Susan. Wesley. Oh, look at that, man. It's a rising consciousness. Thank you so much, Wesley. Okay, so let's talk about this. So David asked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is whole, half mean? I'm confused. Glad you asked, David. And this is essential stuff. So David, you can start on any note, on any instrument, in any key, and do this, and you can create a major scale. So out of the major scales come the minor scales, come all the jazz modes, come the pentatonic scale, and even if you embellish one note, you can get the blues scales. In all keys, in all the forms, on every instrument, since the beginning of time to the end of time, amen. This is how powerful this is. But you got to understand this first. Now, just because I show you this doesn't mean you're going to know all the other stuff, but this is the basis of it, okay? You got to understand this. So the major scale, which is the construction of all this music I'm talking about, is based off of whole steps and half steps. The distance between one fret and the next is a half step. So from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret is a half step. Okay? The distance between the 3rd fret and the 5th fret is a whole step. So 2 halves make a whole. Okay, we hit our first note. This is 1, 2. We make 2 half steps. So 2 halves make a whole. Now, if we know what a half step and we know what a whole step is, then we can take this formula, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, and any note that we start on, we will get a major scale for that beginning note. So here's our beginner note. It's a G, and if I follow this format, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, it looks like this. Here we go. Here's the first note. We're going to say whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We can play this across one string, horizontally or vertically. Or if you want to call that horizontal, that's okay too. Makes sense? You can hear it in your ear. So many different ways to play the scale. So many different ways to play this, okay? Mike V, $1.99. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate that so much. What is it? What is the number that you guys are putting? What is 25? What does that mean? You got to help me out here. I don't know what that means. Okay, so that's the major scale, right? And you can take this from any note, David. You could start it on the F, and let's do the same thing. Watch this. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Don't say the whole until you're moving. So here's the first note. Here we go. Watch. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Phil, thank you so much for the donation. We got Superman. I got an eggplant flying there. I think it's an eggplant, right? Marion, thank you so much. Ron, what's R-O-N? Ron. Anybody know what that is? I know that must be some sort of denomination of monetary bit. But thank you, Marion. Thank you so much. So kind, my friend. Okay, Romanian. Okay, beautiful. Mike V, thank you so much. My goodness, didn't you just donate? Dear Lord, thank you, friend. You just donated though, and you did it again. Okay, beautiful. Thanks so much, friend. So kind. Okay, maybe you didn't, but you did just now. Thank you, Mike, MKV. MKV, thank you for the donation, friend. Super kind. So you could take this whole step, half step, whole, 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 half, and you can create a major scale every single time. Dear Lord in heaven, Pat Kennedy coming in strong with a $100 donation, $99.99. Wow, Pat, thank you, my God. Thank you so much, buddy. That means so much to me. Wow. That makes my day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough. I'd get really old if I said more than that. Thank you, Pat. Super kind. So with this major scale, we can solo over stuff. Now, this is a chord progression that isn't going to sound very good with that major sound or with that blues chord progression. This isn't going to sound very good. Doesn't sound very good because we want to hear blues. So, but knowing that is going to help you to embellish chords. So like for instance, if someone says, what is an A13 chord? Then you can take your A major scale and know, okay, well the 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I put that note in there into my 7th chord, and I get a 13 chord. If I was looking for a 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm going to put it on the top right there. And so in that case, there's my 9 chord. Okay, so it's really helpful for interpreting music in all different ways. Same thing with chord progressions, like a 1, 4, 5 chord progression is going to be using the 1, the 4, and the 5 bass notes from the scale. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Here's the 1. here's a 4, here's the 5. So does that make sense? Okay, good. Any chance that if we are still in this situation in May that you extend these lessons? Gerald, I will. We'll figure out something else to do, or maybe we'll start it over again for those that haven't done it. Maybe we'll just do it over again. You know what I mean? We can always get into, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no lack of beginner guitar players. Everybody who starts a beginner, right? So I want to help those beginners get their feet wet and get involved here, but we always have the advanced section. So I mean, we could talk about anything in the advanced section. I could do something just completely new. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do. If we're still in this in May, then yeah, I'll stick with you guys, and we'll do another 30-day challenge, and we'll have different advanced stuff. You know what I mean? So everybody will be taken care of. I definitely will do that. Yes. Hello, please. What guitar is that? Original one. This is a 1965 Strat. It's original. Where do I find the PDF? MKV. The first PDF is the very first link below, and MK. That's going to give you our curriculum, and it's going to give you also some links to some other stuff that I find to be very helpful. You're welcome to download that. And then the second link below, MK, is going to get you into the Unstoppable Guitar System, a standard. You get in that for free. And if you want to delve into more lessons, you can. If you want to, if you want to test drive the Unstoppable Guitar System, you can do that for 30 days for $1, and never ever have to pay anything for those 30 days. Get out at the end of the 30 days if you don't want to continue on with us. We would love to have you with us. You know. Maybe you could do push-ups. BL, I'm doing push-ups right now, and so today, the 8th, I should be doing 48 push-ups. I'll have to confess to Mike, I did not do my 47 yesterday. For whatever reason, I was really tired yesterday, physically. I don't know why. I must have eaten something wrong or did something, I don't know what. I've been also burning the candle at both ends. But I'm going to do 48 today. I am going to do 48 today. I'm just bumping up one every single day, and so by the end of this thing, I'll hopefully be doing 70. That's my goal. Is the ZZ Top video from day 3 still available? John, it is. If anybody has that ZZ Top link, you can post it in here. But yes, it is available. Or just search YourGuitarSage ZZ Top. That's the way, friends. If you want to learn songs, search YourGuitarSage and whoever you're looking for. YourGuitarSage Elvis, YourGuitarSage Beatles, because chances are I've got a lesson for you on that, okay? Oh, thank you so much. Dude, cool. Respect from India, sir. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you, bud. You're so welcome. The finish is original on this. It is. And it's the original pick guard, and just everything about this one's original. Any tips on working with a looper? Aiden is saying. Aiden, yeah, a couple of really quick ones, but I do have videos for this. Search YourGuitarSage Looper. In fact, I just put up a couple of them with Robbie Calvo, and we did a whole course inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System that is just specifically built for teaching you how to use your loopers in high detail. Okay, so feel free to check that out, Aiden. It's like $1 to get in there. Otherwise, I have videos for free for you on YouTube. Search YourGuitarSage Looper. But here's the deal. What you want to do is, in fact, I'm going to put this looper on, and I'm going to delete the loop that I have in there. I'm going to start a new one. So what you want to do is you want to play and get in a groove. 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, step on the pedal. And it has to be on the downbeat of 1, and then you end on the downbeat of 1 the next time around. If you do that, you're going to have a nice perfect loop. But that's the number one reason that people have problems, right? So 3, 4. And even that was not a really good loop. So here we go. nice consistent loop. So now what I'll do is I'll noodle over the top of it, but the first thing you have to do is start with a nice clean loop, something that you know the key of, something that you can play in and feel good about, you know. Hold on 2 seconds, my cat wants in. Come here, Chucky. Come on. Someone asked about the cat earlier, so here we go. Here comes Chuppy. She'll join us in a minute. Come on, baby. All right. So what is your favorite Hendrix song to play? I love, come on, baby. Come on in here. I mean, I love... Then again, I also love Hey Joe, right? Hey Joe. That's one of my favorite. I love that one. How do we translate the horizontal scale to the vertical one? You're going to need to use your ears, your eyes, your ears, your common sense. So if I'm doing this, and also you have to know some basic reasons where the instrument repeats itself. Okay, if you don't understand those basic bits, then it's going to be harder for you. Hence why we want to know music theory, springboards, and that sort of thing, which I teach you inside the free course. The second link below. If you know this stuff, it's going to make all this easier. But like for instance, I know this because this shape right here is the same. Okay, but again, it's like telling you about chocolate, or you could just taste chocolate and then you'll be like, oh cool, I get it. So you got to get in there, okay? Could you please talk about vibrato? So vibrato is when we do this kind of... We can do fast ones like B.B. King. Right? Or nice and slow. That's up to you. Now what I like to do is I like to put my thumb over the top of the neck, and I like to act like I'm putting a cigarette out. Not that I smoke, but if I were to, I'd be putting it out. I don't like smoking cigarettes. Alright? So, and so you're kind of wiggling this thing like this, yeah? Okay? And you're acting like you're kind of trying to erase something on the fretboard with your finger, trying to rub that note out. You're not going to get vibrato at first. Nobody does. It takes practice. It's just like singing or anything else. When I'm doing vibrato, when I'm, you know, on my slide, I think it sounds awkward because I'm not as used to using it on the guitar, doing my fingers. The slide for me, it sounds more awkward, so it would be like a newbie trying to practice vibrato. But you'll get it. You just have to keep at it. You'll get it in time, okay? What amp am I using? I'm using the Kemper, and then I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram the other day, but I got the Kemper Cone, which is actually the Kemper profiling speaker that comes along, that they're now making for the Kemper, because my monitor's back home. I mean, sorry, it's in the office, and I haven't been at the office for weeks. So, because we're doing everything from home right now, right? Just like you. That's what I'm running through today, and I love it. How do you make vibrato with a bend? Well, you're doing two different things. So get good at vibrato and get good at bends. Because if you're bad at one of them, adding another won't make sense. It'll be harder for you. Just like juggling. If you have a hard time juggling with 3 balls, adding a fourth is not going to help. So if you're already having a problem bending, or you already have a problem with vibrato, then if you're trying to add the two, you're going to make it harder for you again. Okay? So don't do that. Get good at one of them, then get it good at the other, and then bring them together. But it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing in that you've got to practice both of them separately, and then again, everything just takes practice. So you got to use your ear. Try to do it aside from other things that you're working on. Like if you're working on a solo, just for a while, just go. And just work on that. You know, when you can do something over and over and over again, focused in a short amount of time, you're going to get a lot quicker than spreading it out over and over, you know, over many minutes or hours or whatever. Okay. Do I have any lessons on slide guitar? Billy. Holy Toledo, Ohio. William Wallace. Eric, thanks for the Veterans Free Pro. I enjoy your teaching style, opinions, and rock star playing faces. And yes, this old dog can learn new tricks. You're a good person. My highest compliment. William, thank you so much. That means so much, even more so than the money, but that is super generous. I don't know if we've had a $100 donation before. That is, I think that might be the most we've ever received. So thank you, William. That is super kind, super appreciated, and thank you for the kind words. That means a lot to me. The good person and highest compliment more than anything. Thank you, buddy. And you're so welcome. If you're a veteran, join William in the program. We have this for free for U.S. veterans or U.S. military. Search, go to YourGuitarSage.com/veterans, and we'll get you in there. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, William. So kind, bud. All right, so William Wallace. Yeah, Braveheart. That's right. I knew that. I read that and I was like, William Wallace. Why does that sound familiar? William Wallace. Is that your real name, William? William Wallace. He was quite a hero. Whoo! Well, that movie moved me. Okay. Back at the house. Little Papa Stash is here, my friends. Everybody say hello to Papa Stash. Papa, you need to be doing some live right after, and then I'll send folks over to the old Papa Stash. If you don't know who Papa is, he's a great guitar player and a great dude. So he's got some great bits for blues and Hendrix style, and a bit of chicken picking, a bit of country-esque, country fried rock sound. That's what he does, man. So really good stuff. And he's a metalhead like me too. So beautiful. All right. So okay. So you said, is there a section on slide guitar in UGS? There is. So RJ Ronquillo, another great player here in town, as well as Papa. RJ can shred all different styles, and one of his styles that he does really, really well is slide. So we just did a slide course, and yes, that is inside the Unstoppable Guitar System. In fact, we've got 2 courses on slide in there. One is like the top 30 slide licks, and then the first one is an introduction to slide guitar. We do have some videos on YouTube as well that'll kind of get you acclimated to that style and what to do, setting up the guitar, how to hold the slide, what kind of slide to use, all that good stuff, okay? Awesome. Thought we'd have a few John Prine songs today. Did you know him well? Greg, I did not know him well. There's so many amazing players and amazing songwriters here in Nashville. It's really hard to keep up with them all. In fact, a lot of them are not even folks that you may not even know, but just like friends of mine that are up and comers and what have you. So there's so many folks here that are talented in Nashville. It's crazy. I can't even hardly keep up with how many folks there are. Okay, if I'm in the key and the progression of 1-4-5, for example, how do I play scales over the chord progression? Dustin. So if you're in the key, if I'm in a key and the progression is 1, 4, 5, for example, how do you play scales over the chord progression? So Dustin, it depends on the style of the chord progression, okay? But like if you're doing in the key of A, you know, 1, 4, 5, right? Or say you're doing, yeah, A. You're just doing a straight up A blues chord progression, then you could use A blues over the top of that. A blues or A pentatonic over the top of that. Now, it's not going to sound great at first, but you have to say something in order for you to know what words don't work or what notes don't work and what notes work over what chords. So it's really important that you get out there. You're not going to say the most intelligent things right away. No one does. And if you're waiting for that, then you'll be waiting forever and you're never going to play. No player since the beginning of time, from Hendrix to Eddie Van Halen, just came out of the gate playing the right notes. We all played the wrong notes. You like how I did that? I just threw myself in there with Hendrix and Van Halen. Yeah, no. But what I'm saying is essentially we're all the same in that the more we practice, the better we're going to get. All right. So you just have to get out there. You got to throw some notes. Follow my videos on blues. YourGuitarSage Blues. Search that. Search minimalistic blues. YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues. If you're inside UGS, I've got a whole course on that. Okay. 49ers for life, 100. Navy vet here and free member for over a year. Beautiful. Thank you, 49ers for life. Thank you for letting me know. Rich, he paid. He must be a vet. Didn't know about the deal, but worth every penny. Thank you so much, Rich. Stick around. There'll be something else for you here, even though if you already paid. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that, and I'm sorry you didn't see that earlier. What do you think about MXR Dookie Drive? Is it better than the Boss Distortion? Remember, when it comes to tools like this, to guitars and amps and strings and pedals and everything else, there's not a best or a better than unless it's someone's opinion. This is all subjective. You can think about these as paintbrushes. So what's fine for Bob Ross is not going to be fine for Picasso. Okay, so it's all different. We all have different tools. That's why Papa may like a particular amp. Well, he loves the Ox and he runs that through his Friedman, and I love the Kemper, and you know, Corey Congilio will run an Ox through a different amp, and then RJ will do something different, and you know, Guthrie Trapp will run through, just plug straight into an amp. You know, everybody has a different way of doing things, and oddly enough, the sounds are all fairly similar. They're tasty and they're overdriven and they're clean and they're, you know, they have all the effects. And so there's so many different ways to come up with your sound. Back when I had one guitar and one amp and was desperate for coming up with tones and what have you, I just did whatever I could. I literally would take my amp and plug it into speakers that it should never have been plugged into. Thank God I didn't blow it, but I'd plug it into radio speakers and get a real nasty, mosquito-y, broken up type of sound. Then I'd plug it into something else, and then I'd take my stack and I'd put it into my closet and shove a bunch of pillows into it because it got that nice big thump. And I would do different things to record and to come up with different sounds, just specifically because I didn't have the tools that are out today. So you just do what you do to come up with those sounds, you know what I mean? Daniel, thanks. Eric and crew, USAF vet retired. Beautiful, Daniel. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you are in the program. The best guitar and best amp are the ones that inspire you to play at their highest level. That's all good, indeed. Chasing tone, that's what we call it, chasing tone, because, oh crap, I kind of got off on some questions here, and we should have been into more of a lesson. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. I apologize. Yeah, it's always the one that you're looking, you know, chasing tone. There's so many different ways that we can do it, but the way that you do it is the path that you're going to take, and there is not a perfect way, okay? Let's talk a little bit more about diatonic harmony, okay? So diatonic harmony based off of the major scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. We also have chords that are associated with each one of those notes, and this is what appears in music 99% of the time. It's not to say we can't go outside of this. Just like an artist, if they paint a sun, it's 99% of the time they're going to paint a yellow or a white sun. But it's not to say that they could paint a purple sun and the world's going to come collapsing down. It doesn't work like that. It's just paint. And it's just notes, it's just chords. So you're not going to break anything by playing a different chord that shouldn't be there, right? Or painting a purple sun. There's nothing wrong with that. So, but going back to diatonic harmony and how it creates a thumbprint or DNA of music, if you will. If we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, the chords that are associated with that are major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So major 1, minor 2, minor 3, major 4, major 5, minor 6, diminished 7, and back to our 1 again. So does that make sense? If we were doing this in the key of C, we'd still have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. So like this. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and back to major, okay? So those chords, the way they're constructed, if you hit songs or songs that aren't hit songs, just songs that you love and what have you, 99% of them are following those basic structures. If you want to know what chords are more popular than others, it goes in this order. The 1 chord is the most popular chord, followed by the 5 or the 4 chord. They're basically in tie for second. Then the minor 6 chord. And there's a million amazing hit songs written with just those 4 chords. There's an amazing amount of major hit songs just written for the 1, 4, and 5 too. A lot of country songs, a lot of rock songs. So if you know just the 1, 4, 5, minor 6, you can literally go your whole life and write a bunch of hit songs and never look back, never change keys, never do anything other than coming up with great chord progressions and melodies. You could create some great songs just like that, okay? Brown Eyed Girl is one of them, yeah. Okay, hey Brian, that's okay. Eric is like, day 8 of the physics of sound, and I'm like, I can finally play the G major scale. Best 2 hours of practice ever. And Brian, that's okay. And I appreciate you actually saying that, because here's the deal. We don't know a thing until we learn a thing. And then it's just one thing. Sometimes we need 10 things in order to actually understand a specific subject. Sometimes it's 1,000 things, right? For a doctor in physics, it's gonna take 1,000 things to understand. But we have to always start with the one thing. We don't learn 1,000 things at once. We learn one thing. So that's great that you learn the G major scale, because now that you know the G major scale, you know that you can shift it up and down. If you've learned it from the free program I'm giving you today, the second link below, you'll know that you can move that scale up and down. And now actually you don't just know the G major scale. You know that if you slide it up a half step, now you know the G sharp major scale, and the A major scale, A sharp major scale, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and back to G. So you know all the scales and all the different keys automatically. Oh, by the way, Brian, all of the pentatonic scales, major and minor, are in there as well, along with the minor scale and along with the jazz modes. So you're doing good by learning the major scale. It is absolutely the cornerstone for everything that you will base all your music theory, all of your building your chords off of, your embellishments, your chord progressions. It all comes from the major scale, okay? Not knowing that will slow down your understanding of getting it. You'll get to the same goal eventually, but knowing the major scale and how it's constructed is going to get you there so much quicker than not knowing it, okay? Rip Bon Scott. Oh my God, right? Everybody hear about Bon Scott dying? I know. It's tragic. My knees hurt. He died a little while ago, right? Which guitar, I know you know that, I'm just messing with you. Which guitar teacher do you think is best on YouTube? Duh, James. Which guitar teacher do I mean, I would think it was me. I'm gonna say it's me. Otherwise, I would teach like whoever I thought was the best. I'd follow him, or her. And here's the deal. Again, there is no best. I'm not the best. you're going to find who's the best for you. The best may be Papa Stash. He may be the guy, or it may be Marty Schwartz, or it may be Justin Sanderco, or it may be Andy Guitar, or it may be whoever. There's lots of amazing, great instructors on YouTube. You got to find one that resonates with you, one that their personality resonates with you, the way that they teach resonates with you, and then see if they have a path. Most of us have some sort of path to go down so that you can figure out what works for you, okay? Do that. That's how to find your best. What kind of pick would you recommend to someone that kills their strings with strengths? Use a thinner pick, friend. This is a 0.6. I would say go with a 0.6 or below, at least for a while until your technique starts getting better, and then boom, you know, you'll get that here. Modal interchange. Do you teach this? Modal interchange. Yes, I do. Modal interchange is also called like chordal transmutation, or there's all sorts of scary words for it. Borrowed chords, that sort of thing. So Billy, I've got videos for this. Search YourGuitarSage borrowed chords. But essentially what a modal interchange is when we temporarily key change using chords that fall outside of diatonic harmony, like we just talked about. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Like a lot of times rock musicians will use a they'll use a major 2, you know. A major 2 is used a lot of times in rock, pop music, that sort of thing, okay? But I do have that, yes. Better question is, who else do you like watching lessons from? Oh, that's a great question, Ross. I watch videos from all, but it depends. I suppose it depends on what I'm doing. I'm probably not watching the same guys you guys are watching. So most of my stuff is going to be like if there's a real specific thing that I'm looking for. Otherwise, I usually, when it comes to music, I usually will figure it out myself. So it has to be something that I like, a specific subject. So if it's the BB box, back when I was studying that, I watched a lot of people and I saw a lot of people getting it wrong. And I knew that they were doing it wrong because after watching enough people, I started piecing the parts that were correct and the parts that weren't correct, and then a lot of people were teaching it wrong. So I typically am not looking for a specific teacher. I'm looking for a specific lesson, and whoever's teaching it's teaching it, and is great. Is your Kemper the powered one or the cone powered? So Jim, so it's the powered one, and when you say cone powered, there's the Kemper cabinet, right? So there's the Kemper cab, which is basically, from my understanding, now I just got this like 2 days ago, there's the Kemper cone cabinet, but it has to be, you have to use a powered Kemper to use it. So you're saying, is it this one or that? No, it's both, and it can only be both. You have to use a powered Kemper to power the Kemper cone, and I did get that, yes. What you think about alternative tuning? I think alternative tuning is fine if you need it. Otherwise, the guitar is tuned a certain way so that you can play in all the different keys and what have you. I use alternate tunings sometimes, very rarely. I'll use it for slide guitar, so I'll use an open D because it's very, it's a great way to play slide guitar. When soloing over the 1-4-5 chords, don't you try and end your phrases on either the root, the third, the fifth, or the minor seventh of the position 1 pentatonic position? Yes, indeed, that is true. That's what I try to do. And then I also, yes, I was going to say I also do other parts of the chord, but you just said it. Yeah, the 1 is usually the first note that I try to go to, and then some other portion of that chord is also great. Texian 11, wish I could give more, but as a retiree, we do what we can. Much love and thanks for what you do for vets. My friend, thank you so much. Anything like that is I'm very thankful for you right now for that. It means so much to me. Thank you, thank you. Fan of the current wave of hip-hop, soul-inspired internet guitar players. Any faves? No, I can't say that I can't say that I know that I'm really super familiar with that style. So, but I listen to all sorts of music, but I don't know about hip hop inspired internet guitar players. You know, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you talking about like what Jude Smith plays, like kind of like poppy type of R&B sound? If that's what you're talking about, I love that. And if I have a favorite, it would probably be Jude Smith. I think he's a great player, very tasty. JR saying there's not a powered cabinet yet. There will be someday, but you can use an external amp if your Kemper isn't powered using, yeah. I also have another one. I have the Friedman version of the Kemper, a Friedman full range speaker. Much more expensive. I think that thing was $799, so double the price of this almost. But it's amazing. It's loud, and it's powered. It's heavy, and it's beautiful, and it sounds amazing. How much do you use pull-offs in your playing? I use them all the time, and most players do. They use them all the time. They're not really thinking about it, but they're using them all the time. Do you play country and Western? I do a little bit. I've taught lots of country songs, and I do teach like Travis picking and that kind of, you know, basic Western swing where you're doing a where you're alternating the bass note. So I do teach that sort of thing. You know, basic country and Western playing is more of a style, but you're using all the same chords. You're using real similar chord progressions. It's just more of a style than anything else. And once you get it, you got it. Can you please explain why a C9 has a 9 in it? Well, because if you see C9, it's asking you to play a C9 chord. So it has a 9 in it because that's how we construct our embellished chords. If you have a C13, you'll play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you'd play, that'd be a C13 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you add the 13 onto the 9, or onto the 7th chord, and then you have a 13 chord. So if it's a 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's the 9 that you're hearing there, and so that's why and actually that's called a C add 9. If we really wanted that to be a C9 chord, we'd have to throw the 7th in there, so it'd be like this. And then you might even see this, you know. So you can play these anywhere, but that's an E9. That's an A9. And then you could do a B9 in there if you want to kind of jazz up your blues chord progressions with ninths. Yeah, you could do that. Wow, I can find that on the website. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Mary. You have to let me know what it is you're referring to. I've answered a few questions, so I don't know which one you're talking about. You said, "Oh, I can find that on the website." Which website and what specifically are you talking about? I'll try to steer you where you can go. Thank you, Dana. Yeah. I bought a Santa Cruz guitar and cannot play a C chord without accidentally muting the first string, whilst muting the 6th string. But my first cheapest guitar with a slimmer neck, I can. It's so annoying. Jez, that's only because you're not used to the new guitar. That's all. You got used to your old guitar, and that's what you're used to. So when you start driving a new car, you're going to get used to that car, and you're going to probably forget what the old car drove like. Same thing with your guitars, okay? Eric, how do I develop the feel to know when the chord switches to another chord? James, study songs. Understand how to read chord charts like I teach you inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System, the free version of it even. Follow that, and then understand how to read chord charts, or understand basic chord progressions. Most chord progressions are 4 measures in length, 4 or 8 or 16 measures in length, and the chord progression will, you know, typically stop at that, you know, be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In that case, that's only 2 measures. But you have other chord progressions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 4 chords, 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4. Okay, so you got to understand that usually chords are held out for 4 beats or 6 beats, or double that. They're held out for measures. You have to have an understanding of measures. I talk about this inside UGS Standard, the second link below. And in the very last part of that program, I walk you through learning a song, specifically one with a chart, so you can get the understanding. So go through the first part of it, but don't forget the last, or I should say, definitely do the last few videos, but go through the first part too, because it's going to build your understanding of, once you get to that last video, how we interpret, how we break down a song, how we decipher it, how we read it, how we anticipate the changing of the chords and all that, okay? When playing power chords, I have trouble with my upstroke. How should I practice my attack? Well, if you're talking about playing heavy metal, you know, most of the time you want to do downstrokes, because that's the sound of metal, you know? You know, you're doing like, even though these little notes are, when I'm playing the power chord, the power chord, I'm hitting down, right? So usually that's what you're going to do, is you're always going to be picking down on those power chords, but in punk they do up and down, right? And so you can do either, but if you're going to practice with up strums, then those need to sound strong, and so you have to practice them. Practice up strums. Have you ever tried the Fender Bluetooth amp, and do you have an opinion on it? No, I haven't tried it. Sorry. All right. Lots of questions. Enjoying the diversity of the questions. Me too. When practicing scales, how much do you think in your head about which scale degree? I hardly think that at all. Are you playing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the major scale, 1 flat? You know, I kind of do and I kind of don't. It just depends. It's more like I feel the notes now, and that only comes from practice, okay? This is not like some genie visited me and bestowed something on my soul. I wish it were that easy, but it's not. You just get to learning the notes like you would working with clay or working with wood or working with anything, right? So like you learn which notes you're going to rest on more than another. And so that I might say in my head, well, there's the tonic, or there's the, you know, my home bass or whatever, and then I might start using relativity to compare one note to another. So if I know that this is the 1, then I know this would be the flat 7. You know? You go from a C9 chord to a chord. Where does the chord structure come from? Stu Boy, what chord is it? So you started off of the bass note. So if it's a C13 chord, then there's a certain structure that you have to learn as a musician. It's not super easy, but you learn that a major chord is a 1, 3, 5 from the major scale. And then if you learn that a 7th chord is a 1, 3, 5 flat 7. By the way, if this seems complicated to you, I swear to you it's so easy. It's just that you don't know the bits and pieces, which I give you for free, second link below. So if you really want to learn it, it's available to you, okay? Don't say that you can't learn it. This is super easy. I failed algebra 4 times in college. I can get this, you can get it, okay? Okay, Stu, you get it? All right, so then you get the major chord, and then if it's a 9 chord, you just throw the 9 in there, okay? But there are some rules, like a 9th chord is a dominant chord, meaning a major chord with a flatted 7th in it. You learn little things like that, but again, in order to become a doctor, you don't learn one thing, you learn lots and lots of things, lots and lots of concepts, and as a musician, you got to do the same thing. So you got to start with the basics of diatonic harmony, okay? That's the stuff I teach you inside the program, so it's free for you guys. Second link below. How long have I played guitar? Since I was 14, so I'm 50, so 36 years. Do I like tab or sheet music? I like both. It depends. If I'm playing classical guitar, I like sheet music. If I'm learning rock guitar, I like tab. Okay. Light bulb moment, counting the major scale beginning from wherever on the fretboard to the first note is. Yeah, 100%. Yes. Wise men say only fools rush in. Yeah. Take your time. Anything worthwhile takes time. So don't be afraid of really marinating into music. It's not something that happens like that. And it's insulting, right? Not only to me, but to other musicians who have spent a lot of time working on their craft or working on whatever it is that they're doing, an album or a song or whatever, to assume that it's going to come very easily. The end result looks very easy, right? But getting there never happens overnight. I've never honestly ever heard that. I've heard folklore, you know, of Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil or, you know, whatever. But it's all folklore. The bottom line, those people practiced and they practiced hard, and there is no shortcut to it. Will it chug? This one won't chug very much, you know? Doesn't chug. Okay, I won't get into all that. I won't get into my Metallica phase, but it doesn't. This one doesn't chug very well now. John, enrolled in VET's free program last week, have not heard anything since then. John, the Unstoppable Guitar System is free to everybody. So there's not a VET's free program. If you're in the VET's free program, then you're in it, okay? Then you're in it already. John, what you need to go, listen to me, it's important because there's only one way to do this. Go to YourGuitarSage.com/veterans. Follow that link. Watch the screen. It won't jump out and bite you. You're going to need to pay attention and follow the right route. YourGuitarSage.com/veterans. That's how to get into as a U.S. veteran, or if you're in this service currently, then you get that for free, but you have to follow that path, okay? The free program is free for everybody. That's YourGuitarSage.com, the second link below. You know, you can get that in there for free. And there's a difference, obviously, between the two. Can you do Elvis Presley, please, for me, Guitar Man? Nutcruncher, I've got lots of videos on Elvis. So just search YourGuitarSage Elvis, and I'll teach you all sorts of Elvis. I love Elvis. He's amazing. James, how do you fix your phrasing? James, watch the video Minimalistic Blues and understand that you really only need to focus on 2, 3, 4 notes at a time, not the whole guitar neck. When you have too much, you're not going to phrase right because each time you move around to the fretboard, everything changes. So you just need to get familiar with one area and understand how to resolve your phrasing, okay? And then that will transpose to all the different places on the neck here. But you've got to learn how to phrase with something very simple. Search YourGuitarSage phrasing, search YourGuitarSage minimalistic blues, YourGuitarSage call and response, YourGuitarSage jam tracks. There's lots of these that you can follow, and they're all going to help, okay? But don't try to skip the free stuff I'm giving you, because this is why you're not getting it. Not you specifically. If you're not getting music in general, if you don't get some of this stuff, it's because you're trying to skip stuff. And trying to skip stuff is wasting your time. You're making it harder for yourself. Just go through it, okay? Embrace the suck. Do those first videos, and get the understanding of music so that you can dig into this stuff. How important is it to learn tunes and solos by listening to recordings and transcribing, not necessarily writing down? Is it important for developing your ears? 100%. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. It is super, 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 super powerful stuff. I can't emphasize it enough. There's other ways. You don't have to do that, but it's super powerful, so why not, right? Random question, compliment. Thank you. I like your shirt. What brand is it? Where did you purchase it? I don't know. I don't know where I got it from. I think Shoot, I don't know. I don't know where I got it from. I'm so sorry. I've got lots of these though, because I found it and I liked it and I loved it. How do we use diminished chords? So diminished chord, according to diatonic harmony. By the way, friends, if you haven't liked this video already, please do that now. Like it one time. Don't like it twice, just like it one time. And then also share this with a friend. Do I teach the circle of fifths? Yes, I have a video on YouTube. Just search YourGuitarSage circle of fifths. I have a whole course for that inside of UGS. You can get in there today and take advantage of that whole thing, okay? Diminished chords is the seventh chord of a chord progression, right? So or of the diatonic chords. We have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, which is the 7, and then the 1. But most people don't use it that way unless you're playing classical music. So a lot of times a diminished chord will be great for a walk-up, especially like between the major 1 and the minor 2. That's diminished. Make sense? So a lot of times it's used as a passing note, a passing tone, or a passing chord in between one chord and the next. Okay? Can you give me some quick tips for mixing the pick and finger playing? SCP. It's a real broad stroke. You want to put the pick between your thumb and your first finger, and then you're going to pick with your second or third finger. So I don't know what it is that you're trying to pick, but it's all dependent on what lick you're doing, okay? Find out a lick that uses that if you're really interested in doing that. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Okay, but yeah, no, it's great to do. It's helpful. I do it a lot. You know, if I'm a lot of times I'll be using I'm picking with my finger. I don't have to be. You know, it's helpful. Some people are really, really good at it. Lots of flat fives. Somebody's learning a B.B. King tune right now. Lots of flat fives. Sound right? Yeah, sure. That's the blue note. So it should be, yes. Hi, Sage Sensei. Where do I begin to read sheet music? I've got a book for it. Okay, I've got a book on this, on how to read sheet music, on Amazon. Just search Eric Andreas, Amazon, and you'll find the link, and with all my books and stuff out there, but one of them is on reading sheet music. And I also have some videos on this inside of UGS. But there's plenty of great free videos on YouTube if you just want to look, find out the basics of it. You need to understand how to read the staff. You need to know how to understand rhythms. And you need to know how to read the key signature. Those are 3 of the most important things you got to be able to do, for sure. Oh my gosh, so many questions. Dear Lord, I'm like way behind here. Sorry. All right, I got to skip some of these. When should I switch my pickups? You don't switch your pickups. This isn't oil, it's not gas. You just leave your pickups where they're at. If you don't like them, you could switch them, but yeah, you don't need to. You don't switch your pickups unless you don't like them. What would be a good chord progression in the key of E minor? A great chord progression, it's subjective, but I love E minor, A minor, B7, C is nice in there, so you could go. E minor, B7, E minor, A minor, E minor, B7, E minor. So and E minor, A minor, B7. Noodle around with that a bit, and you'll have a lot of fun. Please teach more acoustic lessons. I got tons of them on YouTube, like 1,300. Have you exhausted those already? Said hand, have you exhausted all 1,300 of my acoustic lessons? If so, let me know. Why are you different? Your program, Jesse, might be the best question of the day. Why are you different? I believe that I'm different because I really care about getting, I understand that the psychology of the beginner is the absolute most important thing in the world to foster. Because what happens in the beginning is that people believe myths and folklore, so much so that they really believe it, right? So like you think that one person doesn't you're like, well, it's folklore. You shouldn't believe that. No, they really believe that. No, I can't do it. My hands are too short. They're too fat. I wasn't born into a musical family. I don't have the talent. Yada yada yada. You hear all this stuff. That's folklore. People believe in those myths. And I feel like my biggest thing that I can bring to the table is I can psychologically get them out of that and show them at the very beginning the stuff that's going to carry them through the rest of their lives as a player. Pareto, right, Pareto's rule says that if you learn the right 20% of the stuff, you can do 80% of the job. So my job is to teach folks at least that first 20%. I would love to teach the other 80%. That's great. Let's do that. But if we do that before we do the 20%, then I'm doing an injustice to the player. So I realize Pareto's rule. I realize the psychology that it takes to get somebody from never having played to become a great player, because I've sat in front of 10,000 one-on-one lessons or more than that. So I understand this over time, and that's why. And I'm very passionate about teaching. So, but don't ask me, ask folks in here. In fact, I'll ask folks, why specifically do you like the way that I teach? What makes me different? What makes the way that I'm teaching different? And please only say this if you've watched my videos before, if you've watched my YouTube videos, or if you're inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System. Let Jesse know, because that's a great question. Someone's saying, is it important to focus on breathing while playing? I don't think so. I think you focus on your playing, you're going to end up breathing, I would guess, anyhow, right? Clive, laugh out loud. He didn't answer any of my questions. That would have been a great place to put your question, Clive. I would have answered it right there. Opportunity lost. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, thanks for letting him know here specifically what you're saying here. So, Jesse, there you go. There's not from me, but from other people that are in the program, and that will help you to understand maybe what might make me different than another teacher. There's so many amazing, great teachers out there. You got to find one that works for you, okay? You got to find one that encourages you, unless you don't need encouragement. Some people don't need encouragement. They might be like real, like, I don't need that. I just need straight answers, and I know lots about music, so I need, that's going to be a different teacher for you, okay? So, but I have advanced stuff. I mean, I've got stuff I've got 1,000-something lessons inside of the Unstoppable Guitar System, so we definitely have all sorts, okay? Okay, my friends, really quickly, if you would, before we go, like this video if you have not already. Also, please share it with a friend. Would you? Would you do that for me? Share it with a friend, because other folks need this as well. I would like to get as many folks. Oh, by the way, if we can get this thing above 500 likes, that would be awesome. And since there's 468 of you right now, if 40 of you clicked this thing, actually, if all of you clicked the like, if you haven't already, I would truly appreciate that, and that would ramp us up beyond the 500 mark. So appreciate that. Thank you. While you're doing that, please share it, okay? If you've liked it already, don't like it twice, because it'll take your little thumb away there, okay? Yeah, don't do that, please. Also, you should download the PDF already. If you have not, do that. And secondly, don't forget, get inside the Unstoppable Guitar System today for free, or get in there and pay. We have lots of folks they're jumping in with a lifetime membership because we give them a special deal, or they're doing the monthly membership, or they're doing the scaled down monthly membership that's $5 a month, or they're just like, Eric, I don't want to ever give you $1. I want to take advantage of all your free stuff. You going live every single day on YouTube here. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to get inside the Unstoppable Guitar System standard. I'm going to watch your 1,300 videos. I'm never going to pay you a penny. Yay! I want that. You know why? Because I want to help you. I really do. I want to help you play guitar. For me, once I started making enough money to keep the lights on, I was happy, right? Then I hired a staff, and then I got a studio and everything so I can make things nicer for you guys. But at the end of the day, this is really truly about helping you to play guitar. And some people don't have the money for it. Some people, they want to invest in this and they want to invest in themselves. They want to get better. And they're like, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm getting in because I love what you do and I want to get into the program. So they're going to do that. But for those of you that don't, that's totally fine. I've got so many lessons for you. I can help you no matter where you're at. Okay, I can promise you that. But please, please, get inside Unstoppable Guitar System Standard. It's for free for you guys today, and I want you to take advantage of this. 14 of you, thumb this thing up so we can get to 500 before we stop this video. A couple other things to talk about. If you haven't liked it, please like it right now. We have a couple other videos for you guys to see. If Emmy's in here, if Jason or Mike are in here, we can drop some links to some of the recent ones that we've done. We have a great ZZ Top video that just went up. Clint Miller with Six String Stories just did a documentary, a real short documentary, like a 6-minute one on me and how we got to where we're at today. Thank you so much. We're 6 away from that 500 likes, so you guys are killing it. Thank you. We've got tons of great new videos for you, so check that out. Friends, I love you so much. For all the donations today, you guys gave 389 bucks today, so thank you so much. That does keep the lights on at the studio, even though we're not there. It does keep me paying my staff, which I'm doing. It does keep the internet and everything else and the lights on so that we can do this. We're all in this together, so if you weren't able to donate today, I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate you thumbing the video up. I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you downloading the PDFs. Please let me know how I can help you. I really am passionate about helping you play the guitar. And one last thing before we go, you can do anything you want on this instrument, but it ain't for free. And I don't mean the information's for free, but what I mean is you need to invest your time and your energy into it, and it's waiting for you. You can be as good as you want to be on the instrument, but it does take digging in the dirt. It does take learning, following videos step by step, and doing the homework, okay? I love you guys so much. I'm going to be live with you from here on out. Like I said, tomorrow it's day 9, and we're going to be talking about basic picking technique, the pick rest, and also we're going to talk about singing while playing guitar. So if you've ever wanted to sing and play guitar at the same time, you've had an issue with it, it's not you, it's that you're doing multiple things at once, and I'm going to show you how to break this down. Anybody can sing and play guitar at the same time. I used to not be able to. I used to also not be able to sing. I used to also not be able to play guitar. What? Yeah, and then I practiced and I got better. What, Eric, that's all it takes? Yeah, seriously, that's all it takes. And singing and playing guitar at the same time does take a little bit of practice. And I have to show you the bits and pieces how to break this down. Once I do it, you'll be like, holy crap, I can do it. But it does take breaking it down, okay? So join me tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Great questions today. Everything, all. See ya.